The following is an excerpt from the novel Promo Cowboy by Barry Fitzsimmons, read by the author. Chapter 6. Usually, when I know a client's going to visit my edit room, I like to have my tapes and paperwork all fanned out on the console, and for there not to be no dishes nor food containers around. I like it to look like I'm too busy making TV magic to trifle with such distractions, especially on account of the client pays for all that food, not to mention the markup from the facility. Last thing I want's to be seen like I am now, boots up on the console, leaning back, a big old sandwich in one hand, a handful of chips in the other, a picked over pizza to my left, some Chinese containers to my right, plus drinks, wrappers, napkins, and utensils, all of it used up and spread out like the busboy's done quit his day job. The ball game's up on that big screen over Joe's head, and them loudspeakers on his new surround system make it feel like you're right there in the swamps of old Flushing, with them rowdy fans alongside and them airplanes overhead, buzzing the tower every minute or so. Reckon only New Yorkers would put up with such racket. Anyhow, that's when I feel a nudge against my shoulder, like I've been bumped into, on purpose like. I look up, and sure enough there's a woman in a suit looming over me. Ain't nobody wears a suit at Times Square Video, except sometimes the sales staff, and sundry interlopers, and clients. I right quick get in damage control mode, pulling my boots down off the console and standing up and wiping my hands on my jeans. I lift my hat and extend my hand, only she can't shake, on account of she's got two big bags full of tapes in her hands. Meantime, I can't help it but notice this lady's got a real nice shape to her, and her suit's cut to offer up plenty of that skin that's a shade I can't rightly determine. Can't tell if she's a woman of color, or maybe a mix of many colors. Anyhow, I'd speak, only that airplane noise is so darn loud, so I throw a handful of pretzels at Joe, and he cuts that monitor so quick it pains the ears. That lady in the suit looks at me and cocks her head and says, "Cowboy?" And I say, "Miss Justice?" And she makes a nod, and I pour on the cowboy charm. "Well, hello, so you're Belinda. Well, hey, glad to meet you. And I sure didn't know we should expect you in person, and sorry you caught us sort of off guard, and I sure hope you brought us some tapes and maybe a script or two, and here, let me take them bags, and my, them are heavy. You know, I ain't heard nothing all day, and I wanted to call you, but I ain't got your number, and anyhow, we figured we'd get lunch out of the way, and hey, you ain't hungry, are you?" Sure enough, Belinda makes a mad girl smile, and all I can do is make one back, without the mad part. She's got big eyes that are blue or maybe green, and a full head of dark hair, all wavy and blown by the wind. And now that her hands are free, she starts fiddling with it, and I guess I've charmed her. "A pleasure it is to finally meet you, ma'am. Why don't you have a seat?" "I haven't stopped since I got up this morning," Belinda says, dropping her body like a sack of onions in my chair and giving me a high-angle perspective on all that cleavage. She nods a quick hello to Joey, only she don't say nothing to him, the typical greeting a techie gets from a suit. And she looks over all them food scraps on the console. On one plate, some of them tiny cookies with the chocolate chips inside, and she pops one in her mouth like she's in her own kitchen. "I did want to sit with you for lunch and go over this stuff," she says, sort of loud on account of that cookie, I guess. "Anyone still hungry?" She looks at me, then Joe. "I don't like to eat alone." Belinda reaches for that big fat menu book, just like a pro. "I'm thinking about Japanese. You guys have any room left for sushi?" "I make a swallow." "You mean like raw fish?" Belinda looks at me. "There's also rice and vegetables and seaweed." She says it like it's a good thing. "Ma'am, I ain't ever had no sushi," I say, sheepish-like, only defiant too. Belinda makes a face, like she's wondering what turnip truck I just fell off, only then it changes. "Wait, it's Monday. Sushi's out." Of course, I ain't sure what difference it makes, only I'm of a sudden awful glad it's Monday. She flips a few more pages. "Italian then?" she says, and me and Joey both make a nod, real enthusiastic like. I pull up another chair and we get down to the business of ordering our second lunch, consisting of antipasto and pasta, which sounds funny the way Belinda says it, plus a nice veal cutlet and tartufo dessert. "Make it for 3, she says, into that phone to that receptionist girl up front, who ain't our usual client coordinator, and who most times don't seem capable of more than pointing in one direction or another when you ask her where to find so-and-so and such, and making sure not to smile. Clients are supposed to order food by filling out a big old form, like you're applying for a job just about, so TSB can keep a record and mark it up before adding it to the final bill. Guess Belinda ain't having none of that. Guess that's how it is with some marketing executives. Guess some just gotta upset that apple cart so they can show off who's driving it. The kitchen help comes and clears the dregs of that first lunch, and Belinda pulls out a folder and drops it right in front of me. "Don't say I didn't warn you," she says, and I dig into it so I can look all hungry and full of solid work ethic, plus so I can tear my eyes off her jugs. There's about 20 promo scripts in all, and each page has got a cute little TV station logo up top, a line underneath saying what the promo's for, and under that, where it says producer, something strange and unwelcome. That's a fine load of work, Belinda, only these scripts got Willie Schubermiller's name on them. Joey of a sudden barks out, "Triple threat!" He turns and gives me a sideways glance, only I sure wish he hadn't, on account of Belinda's eyes just about bug right out her head. "Triple threat?" She leans in like an old friend, looking over my shoulder. "Oh, I gave you the wrong scripts." She scoops up that folder and throws down another one, not as thick, but with Promo Cowboy at the top of all the pages. "What's triple threat mean?" she says, shaking her head like it's a curious thing. Why, that's just a nickname some folks got for," I fight the urge to spit, "Old Willie." She makes her brows go up. "Tell me what you know about him." My mind goes back to that last time I saw Willie, creeping up them back stairs like a fella who can't or won't do his business in the light. "Well, I take it he's working for you in some capacity." "You could say that." She eyeballs me. "Go on." "Well, Willie, old Willie, he's one of us all right." I stop lest I break the 11th commandment and speak ill of another cowboy. Of course, Belinda won't let it go. "Are you referring to his history? Or maybe his reputation?" I stroke my foo. "Yeah, that's it." "Which is it?" I stroke some more. "Guess it's both." "You mean his company? The Willie Machine?" Stroke. "Yeah, like you said it. That Willie Machine." I look over at Joe, who looks back like he's glad he ain't in my chair. "The Willie Machine went bankrupt. Willie almost went to jail over it. Is that what you mean when you say he's one of us? Are you rebuilding your reputation from the ground up, like Willie?" My eyes pop out some. "Heck no, ma'am. I just meant how him and me are both daily hires for a daily rate. Guess you know a whole lot more about the man than I do." And it's of a sudden like I'm a dentist, and I just drilled into a nerve. "Maybe I do. Like how he won't work here at TSV where I've told him he has to work, and how he insists on using his own editors and production studios, but he won't tell me where they are, and that he's missed the deadline on his first round of projects and the revisions, and how he won't answer his phone and won't return my calls and only calls me when it suits him, usually because he needs to go over budget. I got so fed up I changed my extension just to pay him back in kind. Now he can't call me." I stifle a chuckle. "So they wouldn't give me your number up front just so I won't give it to Willie?" Her palm comes down hard on that producer console. "Exactly." I make a laugh on account of I can't help it. "You ain't got to worry about that, ma'am." "You think this is funny?" "Heck no. I just been wishing I could call you all morning. Last thing I want's to waste good edit time. An affront to the maker it is." Belinda bends over for something in her satchel. The angle does her justice all right. She sits back upright and gives me a card. "There's all my 411, new number and everything. No excuses now." "Excuses? Ma'am, I ain't been avoiding you like Willie done." She looks at me good and hard. "But you're willing to cover for him. That's what friends do, isn't it?" "Now hold on, Belinda." I sit back. Ain't no smile on my face no more. I won't speak ill over Willie on account of he ain't here to defend himself. Only I didn't never say him and me was friends. "That's right." She makes a nod and pops her eyes, sarcastic like. "Come to think of it, he didn't call you a friend either when I was looking for a freelancer, and he told me all about you." You mean Willie?" I make a swallow. "He's the one gave you my number?" Belinda makes a nod, plus her little coo, only it ain't soft and pleasant. The bottom part of her jaw is thrust out at me, and that stare just about pierces my hide. It's so that I've got to look away. Shoot, last thing I want's to owe that darn Willis Schubermiller a favor. I think how I gotta make a choice, stick or bolt. Could go straight to Jim Jones at Channel 3, see if he still needs the help. Only what if he don't? And what about that extra C note Belinda's paying? That seals it all right. I'll be sure to thank old Willie and pay him back in kind one day. Don't make us friends, though. I make a nod to seal it, and right then that kitchen help comes through the doorway, wheeling a food cart piled high, just like room service.